Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale has broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We try to bring you fascinating guests, often from Las Vegas, sometimes from elsewhere in the world. We have somebody here who's famous around the world and happens to grace our city as a resident. His name is Oz Fox, the lead man, the front guy, the leader of Stryper. How about that?
I wouldn't say leader. Believe me. There's three other guys in the band, okay?
I just want to stir things up for you a little bit. You've been at it a little while with the band Stryper, haven't you?
It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a little story to tell you. I told you I'd tell you a story. In 1988, I was in Tucson, Arizona, and I had just gotten a job at an ad agency. And my very first ad I did there was for Stryper, appearing on the KGMS FM Christian radio station in Tucson. So I had this picture of the Rock of Gibraltar, and I had "Rock for the Ages" was the headline, and then there you were in your yellow and black striped glory, standing on the Rock of Gibraltar. So you guys have been at it for a while.
Well, thank God we don't have the spandex anymore. And the Aquanet. It certainly was a painstaking thing.
It was an era, sort of glam metal, I guess, really, when you first started. Yeah,
that's what people tagged it as.
Yeah,
we never thought of it that way.
No,
as far as we were concerned, we were just a rock band, metal sort of.
And you were attracted to that, hence the name Oz from Ozzy Osbourne, right?
That's correct.
Your bandmates.
That started in high school.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a huge Black Sabbath fan. I used to imitate Ozzy Osbourne's voice and play at backyard parties, and so a lot of people started calling me Oz after that.
And it stuck.
Yeah. I guess so. I just kept it.
And you grew up in Whittier, California.
That's correct.
Tell me about your childhood, about your family.
Well, I grew up it was kind of a nice neighborhood, quiet. And my father was an upholsterer in the upholstery business.
Yeah.
My mother was just a stay-home mom. And they ended up divorcing at the time. I was probably they split up when I was 6 years old, and then they finally had a divorce when I was 10.
Right.
And it was definitely a strange time for me growing up. I just had school and friends and neighbors and all that stuff, and I wasn't thinking too much about politics or anything like that. Obviously, there was a lot of things going on in the 60s.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was born in 61.
Yeah.
So you can imagine all of the kind of things that were happening at that time.
Yeah.
Going into
that decade, many things happened.
Including
musically.
Oh my gosh, music was just amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, and I still love the music from the 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, when I was in high school, I started high school in 1976, and at that time, my gosh, the bands like Deep Purple and Kiss and Black Sabbath were pretty popular.
Yeah.
At the same time.
So you migrated to that end of the hard rock spectrum.
Right.
Being metal, being hard rock. What about it appealed to you, especially the satanic aspects of it? Was that part of your childhood?
There wasn't any satanic stuff in my childhood. I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
And then at the age of 10, my mom became a born-again Christian.
Right.
And that's where I was introduced to Christianity at that point, going to the church that she was at in Whittier. Church is still there, by the way.
Oh, good.
Same
Cool.
pastor.
Cool. Wow.
But I
that
think,
was not attractive to you as a kid.
well, mom,
In the music, yeah.
strong-armed me.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Thank God.
Yes.
She did.
They're good parents.
I learned a lot while I was there growing up and stuff, but as I got into my teens, it was the rock and roll lifestyle just kind of was more attractive than that, and that's what I leaned more towards, and being a musician and being a guitar player and wanting to, I think that was mainly my thing, was guitar, being attracted to guitar players, starting off with James Burton when he played with Buck Owens.
Sure.
That twangy Telecaster sound was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So that really drew me in, so to speak. Later on in life, of course, my dad was a big jazz fan, so I've heard a lot of Wes Montgomery and guys like that. But then it kind of turned into where I started exploring more about how to play and who to play like, and when I came down to it, just some of the rock players were really my favorite type at that time.
Kind of your heroes.
Yeah. And of course, hearing Black Sabbath for the first time just really kind of threw me, for a
Some
loop.
serious guitar playing.
Well, I mean, Tony Iommi is an amazing player, an amazing riffy kind of guy. And the funny thing about it is he had the tips of his fingers cut off in an accident. And so
I heard that.
Yeah, so he adapted a new way of playing, which just involved his lighter strings and a more distorted sound, which created this new metal kind of vibe, that heavy distortion.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So did you copy different styles?
Well, I mean, of course, when you're a guitar player, you listen to a lot of styles. I mean, like I said, I started off really liking James Burton, but Santana was a big guy for me because of the tone he had.
Yeah.
And as time went on, in my high school years, there were bands like the Scorpions, and then of course a band called UFO with a guy named Michael Schenker, who really kind of blew my mind for a while.
Wow.
And all of my friends were listening to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we would all just get together and listen to, and believe it or not, I think thankfully my dad just kept playing jazz music all the time, and I would go help him work at his upholstery shop. But I was drawn to a lot of progressive music.
Oh, really?
So I had friends that were into Emerson, Lake and Palmer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that really just took me to different areas of music that I learned to appreciate, in later years.
Did you have formal training as well?
Not at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Not at the beginning. I mean, if anything, I just learned a lot of chords and, things from uncles and,
Yeah.
I tried to take lessons with the reading and all that stuff, which I kicked myself for not, following through with that, because obviously I'd have more work in Vegas if I did it. So, but no, you didn't really need to have that to be successful, because a lot of the bands that were successful weren't doing that.
Yeah, or playing by ear.
Yeah. So, it wasn't until later that I really started studying theory and getting an understanding of what things were, as far as...
And the mathematics
of mathematics of music.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And actually started taking jazz lessons in 2014 and kind of got myself into a whole other...
Oh, that's
realm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you intend to do with that? Is that...
It's more just... It was just more to break me out of a box.
Okay.
When you play by ear, you get stuck in these little things where you can't get out of playing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And so learning something new like jazz opens up all these tools of scales and chords, so that you can do different things, so you don't sound so mundane.
That's really interesting.
And it shows up on, obviously the recordings that I do with Stryper.
Oh, yeah.
So
let's talk about the beginnings of Stryper. You auditioned for the band, I understand, right?
Well, I actually went to high school with, I met Robert Sweet, the drummer, in junior high school in 1974.
Oh, okay.
So that goes way back.
Yeah.
And then finally in high school, we hung out a lot. And then eventually when I got out of high school, and he was on to playing in Hollywood with his brother Michael.
Right.
We hooked up, and they knew about my playing.
Oh, did they?
They knew I could play, and they asked me to be in the band, and it was funny because it wasn't until we we were. It was like kind of like we were at a point where we were in between bass players, and Michael, Robert, and myself were in a garage. And a good friend of ours who was a believer at the time came in, and he knew that we had all come from Christian homes. And he's the guy that said, if you dedicate your life and your music to Christ, he can take you to places you've never been to. And the first one who stood up and said, I want to do that, was Robert.
Yeah.
And so the rest of us kind of obviously got on board with it.
Oh, wow.
And that's how the band kind of came to be a Christian rock band. And after that, lyrics got changed of original songs. I like to tell people that the first song that Michael had written riff-wise was a song called From Wrong to Right. And I believe Robert wrote the lyrics to it, and I came up with a chorus lyric-wise about Jesus is the way kind of thing. And that kind of was, to me, seems like the catalyst for where the band was headed.
And that was really a breakthrough in popular music, period, but specifically with metal in the Christian genre, unheard of at that point, right? So you guys broke that entire mold.
Well, that, and in the Hollywood circuit. I mean, there were bands like Motley Crue playing in Hollywood, and the whole satanic kind of overtones were popular.
Yeah.
There was a lot of bands that were just kind of doing either that or a Van Halen-esque kind of thing, because Van Halen had been extremely popular, which we were heavily influenced by a lot of Van Halen stuff.
Right.
And especially myself.
And you played at a lot of the same places you were. Went to Whiskey A Go Go, places like that.
At the time, actually, we didn't play the Whiskey. There were a lot of smaller places in town that we would play, a lot of smaller nightclubs and whatnot that were popular. But it wasn't until, actually, we didn't play the Whiskey until like 1991.
Right.
I guess
you had a live album from there, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I thought so. So, did you have to fight the critics in the sense that you're inventing a new genre, essentially, hard rock, Christian style? Did the critics go after you? And I'm thinking maybe from both sides, at least in the sense the Christian people like, how can you do this kind of music? And then from people who were non-believers, how dare you, enter our space?
You hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, we got it from both sides, really.
Yeah.
But for us, it was a calling. To me, it was a divine, union that God put together for us to continue to do now for almost 40 years.
Wow, what a blessing!
We haven't stopped.
What a blessing!
We just recorded our 14th studio album, and
jeez,
and we're still friends.
Well, that's Christianity.
There you go.
That's the only possible explanation for that, because there's an awful lot that goes on. I mean, if nothing else, being in close quarters on the road really makes it difficult.
Yeah, it does.
And you guys, you've had several members come and go, but it doesn't look like any of it was really any kind of problem. It's just a natural, I need a solo career kind of thing.
Well, I think if anything, it boils down to, if you really want to do something and stick to it, and especially if it's a divine calling.
Oh, yeah.
You can't give up until God tells you to stop.
Yeah, that's right.
Or he makes you stop somehow.
Yes. And we were all scared that was going to happen with you. And I want you to know that your fans and I and others that I know have been praying for you.
I appreciate that.
Because you had the brain tumors, and things are looking okay though, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
So Lord willing, everything will be okay. I'll be around for a while.
That's good.
And
you're going to be playing. You plan on being on the road again?
Yeah. We start touring again in May.
Oh, that's great.
And we'll be doing dates all over the U.S. all the way through fall.
Wow.
Who knows? Who knows what'll happen between now and then?
You can call it the farewell tour like Elton John and just never leave.
Well, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be so much the farewell tour as
I know it's not. But,
it's like, look at the times we're in.
I know. Yeah.
So, who knows what's going to happen between now and...
Oh, the mission field is always going to be there.
Yes.
And you have a way of reaching youngsters and oldsters like me. 40 years worth of fans.
And new generations.
Yeah.
I got grandkids that are coming to my shows now.
That's amazing. We need to take a brief break, and we're going to be back with Oz Fox right after this. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. Radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. And welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Oz Fox of Striper is with us, and several other bands. You were in some other ones that were pretty popular too, huh?
Well, a couple maybe. Yeah. Here in Vegas for sure.
Yeah.
I actually did. I did a show right before the pandemic shut down with Yellow Brick Road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I sat in for their guitar player Mark Cole, who was sick.
Oh.
It was the last show before they shut everything down.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Speaking of Yellow Brick Road, you're a Beatles fan and you grew up during that era.
Yes.
And I understand you might grace us with a McCartney tune. Huh?
Oh, we have the same birthday, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's good.
June 18th.
That's good. Fire away whenever you're ready.
All right, here we go. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You're only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You're only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arrive. You're only waiting for this moment to arrive. You're only waiting for this moment to arrive.
Give him a hand, everybody. Studio audience. Nice job. Very nice job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for gracing us with a song.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to entertain.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you know, if not that you had to prove a thing, certainly not to your fans or your bandmates, but you knocked that out of the park.
Oh, thank you.
You know, you did a really, really good job. Thank you.
Well, considering my brain's all messed around with, I think I'll take that.
Yeah, that's remarkable too, considering, you know, I was reading when you were going through all of that, and your beautiful wife Annie was posting. They even woke you up during surgery and had you play the guitar.
Yeah, what
was that?
I had an astrocytoma tumor about 4 centimeters big.
Oh, yeah. And
it was in the back side of my right hemisphere. Mm-hmm. So they had to do a craniotomy. And the problem with this tumor was it was in a position that could have eliminated the use of my left arm.
Wow.
So the only way to really do the operation without harming that is to wake me up and have me play guitar. And they had to test the area before they cut into the spot where they felt the tumor needed to be cut out.
Right, right.
And as they went through, if they tested an area that threw off my guitar playing, they wouldn't cut there.
Wow.
And so they had to kind of inch their way around, or centimeter their way around, taking this thing out of my head.
Wow.
And for 3.5 hours I was awake playing guitar.
That's awesome.
And if I moved out of place, like when they were testing me, then they wouldn't cut there. And eventually, once they got it all out, they realized that the places where he was going to cut that threw me off was actually brain, not tumor.
Oh, wow.
So you can't just go in and scoop it out, you know, with a with a melon baller, you know.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful.
Yeah. That's why they call it brain surgery.
That's right. So, and I think I made a few jokes with the I don't know, there were some things I was joking with the doctor about I don't know, some movie called Red Dragon where, you know, Ray Liotta got his brain cut.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, we're all so glad that you're healthy and back with the band and with us. So
I'm very
God
thankful.
Bless you. Oh,
I'm very thankful to be alive and being able to walk and have all my memories and just even be a part of the band or anything for that matter.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm very thankful.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about your faith. You obviously, you said that you grew up in the church, you know, with your mother's influence. Mm-hmm. Did you have a Me Too kind of moment when Jesus entered your life, or was it more of a gradual thing?
It was a gradual thing, I think. It was obviously when you're young and you dedicate your life to Christ. There's you don't really think about all of the things that would hit you in your life to possibly distract you from your walk. And so that's the important thing, is to have something or someone in your life to help you and guide you through that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have that. I had my mom and my friends,
right?
You know, and the church was great, but there wasn't anyone mentoring me in a faith, so to speak, in a Christian faith.
Yeah.
It was just going to Sunday school and, you know, just kind of hanging out with, you know, the kids and whatnot.
Christians.
Right.
Yeah.
Christian kids.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
that's crucial.
Yeah, it is. And then as you get older and your hormones start to change,
yes,
things start, you know, kind of getting in the way of all of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so, sure enough, it took a while, and I went through a lot of ups and downs. It wasn't until, like I mentioned, the story about us rededicating our lives in the garage, where we started really taking it seriously, because it was like, okay, if we're going to do this, then we better really know what we believe in.
Right.
So we spent a lot of time going to church then. But still there was this alter motive. There was always this alter motive of wanting to be a rock star.
Right.
Which, if you're half-hearted in your walk, sometimes that half-hearted part that's not thinking about Christ is going to take over.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to be careful of.
That's something that everybody wonders about a Christian band in general. The temptations on the road have to be incredible. I mean, groupies and drugs, alcohol, all of it is there.
Yeah.
And luckily you had each other, everyone in the band was a Christian, but still it had to be tough.
Well, yeah, and there was still those times when we would all be each other's, little devil on the shoulder.
Accountability group.
No, devil on the shoulder.
Oh, devil, okay. Okay.
There were those times too. So, I mean, if anything, it wasn't really until I went through a really bad heartache in my life, which was the breakup of me and my first wife.
Right.
And we had 3 kids, and it was a family unit that I thought wasn't going to be broken until we broke up.
Yeah.
And that was very, very hard for me.
Yes.
I had to really turn to God for that. I had to get on my knees.
I had exactly the same experience, and
I had to get on my knees.
God showed up.
Yeah, and trust Him for everything in my life and surrender my whole life to Him then completely. And at that point, I was kind of on my own. And of course, I could see my kids and spend time, with them as much as I could. They got hit pretty hard by the whole thing. But, I had to put my life in His hands. Had to put the whole thought. I mean, if you think you're going to be with somebody for the rest of your life and it doesn't happen, what do you do?
Yeah.
And
it's so disappointing.
Oh yeah. And I had to sit there thinking to myself, well, God knows my future. He knows what's in my, path, and He knows what's best for me. So I'm just going to trust Him for it. I'm going to pray I made a note. If I ever meet the next girl, God's going to have to hit me over the head with her, and she's going to have to be in ministry, and she's going to have to be fully dedicated to the Lord, and she's going to have to just be totally sold out for Jesus, and all these things that I waited and prayed, and eventually I ended up meeting Annie, which was
and she fit the bill.
She went above and beyond what I could have ever expected for my life.
That's wonderful.
And
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and the great thing is I'm still, we're both still friends with my first wife.
That's good. Glad to hear that.
Annie had a special way with my kids, and I think my first wife appreciated that. And it was turned into a thing where, there was a mutual appreciation. And now, whenever they meet, it's like the 2 wives of Oz,
That's funny.
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
That's right. That's a good story. With a happy ending, and not many divorced dads can say that it's okay, because there's an awful lot of tension in a former relationship.
It can be, but I mean, the thing is trusting God for your life and putting everything in His hands and surrendering everything to Him. It gives you the peace to know that nothing's going to go wrong in the future. Things are going to look good. And it doesn't even matter what happens in the future. I mean, obviously, with my health issues, it's like, okay, what is God going to do with me in that?
Yeah.
And I know that one day I'm gonna have a new ear. That was the other thing. I had a tumor in my ear that they had to pull out, which I lost the hearing in my left ear for that. Now I can only hear it on my right ear.
Yeah.
But when I get to paradise, I'm going to be able to hear everything. Right?
In stereo.
Yeah. And know everything, by the way.
Yeah, what a glorious day that will be.
Yeah.
That will be. Let's talk a little bit about the future and what you see there. Do you want to continue to tour with Stryper? Do you want to write some more music? What do you want to do?
Guitar is my life. I've been just so passionate about guitar playing. I know I want to continue to just follow that and use it for whatever I can.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in a place where Stryper is my calling, and I want to continue to do that until it doesn't happen anymore, or God wants to change things.
Right.
If I walk away, then that would be against what I believe He wants.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that benefit from what Stryper does, and there's still a lot more to do. And so I'm going to continue down that path. I am going to hopefully write some music and do a solo album one day. That's what I'd like to do, just because I have my own, aspirations.
Sure.
All that. I'd like to start a talk show, my own talk show.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of got an idea to base it on my heritage, which I'm Mexican American,
right.
Which is I like to call it Chicano.
Sure.
So
sure.
I have a whole theme about that I'm gonna kind of focus on.
Okay.
And we'll see how that goes. Wherever that takes me. It obviously will be a lot of spiritual stuff being talked about on that, and I have a good friend of mine who's going to join me on that when I get it together. A friend of mine named Les Carlson, who sings in a band called Bloodgood.
Yes, I've seen them on Facebook.
I ended up joining the band for a little while in 2006, and we recorded an album together.
Okay.
And great guys, Now you can pray for the bass player. He just had a stroke, so he's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's dealing with some stuff right now.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Whatever God wants to do. And, of course, there's ministry with Annie. She's continuing to do her ministry. And
sure.
I don't help her run it because I don't know if I can handle what she handles. But I'm at least a support, and I can hopefully be a good example to the girls, that she helps.
Well, God bless you. And we're going to take another brief break, and then I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
We'll be back.
I like surprises.
With Oz Fox and someone else right after this.
You are unique, complex, beautiful, valuable. I made you different. Out of 7,787,200,861 people on planet Earth right now, no one is the same as you. I created you. I gave you breath. I formed your being. And each day I give you life. And I love you. But a divide came between us. And you turned your back and went your own way. You tried life without me, and it's slowly killing you. You know there's more. Again and again you try to find it, sipping from the empty cup of sin, but nothing quenches the deep down thirst. But this is not your story. I made you for more, for life with me, in full bloom. So I came to earth to live as you do. I felt your fragility, the problem of pain, the tearing of temptation. But I did not give in. And even though I authored life itself, I chose death. I took your sin, the weight, the cost, and it killed me. It killed me instead of you. That's what I wanted. And I did it because I love you. I laid down my life. I knew I could take it back. I'm alive. I am Jesus. In a world full of shortcuts, I am the way. In a world full of lies, I am the truth. And in a world full of death, I am the life. I died and came back to life so that I could give you a clean slate. If you believe that I did that for you, my life is yours. Will you take it?
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We have a very special guest on the Oz Fox Show. He's very familiar with her. He earlier said, "Don't call me Mr. Lobert," or something to that effect. Annie Lobert is with us. Thanks for coming on, Annie.
You're welcome. I had to come to see my husband.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for riding over with him.
Yeah.
I've interviewed you, and you told a nice story about meeting him and loving him. Let me give you an opportunity to do the same in this episode. Tell us a little bit about what it's like today, being married to this superstar of Christian rock.
Well, you know, when you live with someone, things are a lot different. You get to pick up their underwear and their socks. And
That's right.
But, you know, all in all, yeah, married life is real. But honestly, Oz is a very special person, because all the men that I dated before, they always wanted usually one thing.
Right.
And this is one man that didn't want that from me, right, honey?
Yes.
I tell you what, so I can give a little bit of advice, Dale, to anyone that's dating out there.
Yeah.
Especially in today's culture, because today's culture is sleep with everybody.
It's a hookup culture.
Yeah, hookup, but also let me test this car out first to see if I like how it feels, right?
Right.
And anyone that's driving a sports car, that's what you do. Well, listen, Prince had it right when he said Little Red Corvette, because that's how some people, some men and women think of each other.
Right.
Well, let me test out this Corvette and see if it's really what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing that I did before I married Oz was didn't want to give my whole body to him, because I wanted to be safe for marriage. And also I knew that he would protect me. And I also knew that he would honor me as a woman, and he wouldn't try to push me to do things that I didn't want. And I knew that also that he would be a provider. And when we would go out to eat, it wouldn't always be like, well, can I pay for your dinner, as a woman to a man? Like, or can we go Dutch? But it was never like that. He paid for everything. And he showed me what a true gentleman was. In fact, when we were dating, he would open my doors and my car door. You still do that, honey? Oh my gosh. What a con, right?
Throw me under the bus. Oh
Seriously,
my God.
Oz, honey, come on. So, you know,
That was a little
I mean,
reminder, I think.
Yeah, but you know, it's you have to really take marriage into consideration. If you're going to marry someone, it's just like where Jesus says that, you know, we are his bride. Like, you're there for the long haul. Like, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
And Christ died for the church. And so that's the type of husband that I was looking for. Someone that, you know, totally represented Jesus in the right way.
Yes.
But also in today's culture, to have a husband that is faithful and that doesn't cheat, is not addicted to porn, it, you know, doesn't try to look at other women, or, oh, let me go, I'm going to go out, I'll be out later, honey, and I'll see you later. He's not like that. He'll tell me exactly where he's going. It's not that I will go follow him or anything, but he's very faithful. And he always wants to come home to me because he loves me. So just to give any advice, this is a long haul commitment. And if people think marriage is going to be all beds and, like, you know, roses and pizza and cupcakes and
cuddling.
Disneyland, it's not that. Marriage is work, but it's worth it. And you fall in and out of love every day sometimes.
Yeah.
Because some days they're really going to make you mad. And some days you're going to be like, it's the best person ever. Right, honey? Am I saying it the right way?
Yeah, that's nice. Very
Very
well
nice.
done. A friend of mine is a pastor who marries people down on the Strip, you know, and makes a living doing it. But he has a little speech that he makes at the end of every ceremony where he talks about marriage being a cord, if you will, with three strands. You know, there's you and Jesus, and then there's also the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And with those in a marriage, you're bound to succeed. And you guys clearly have that. You've been married 20 years? 20?
13. They're 13 this year.
We're going to try to be married
That's right.
30 or 40 years, as
Yeah.
long as this world is still going to be here, Dale.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Speaking of which, it's hard to be married anyway. As you said, it's work. But particularly, you know, when both of you are so as busy as you are, and this guy's going to be back out on the road again. Does that worry you or bother you that he's going to be out in 30 or 40 cities?
No, not as far as him getting harmed. I think for his tumor situation and sometimes the seizures that could happen, I think that is concerning, but I always have to just give it to God.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then I try to come out and visit him if I can.
Oh,
and I
right.
will be with him on his birthday show in Puerto Rico. Of course, we love Puerto Rico.
Maybe Paul McCartney will show up.
You know,
could.
it's so crazy
That's
because
right.
like Mexico, which
On
I
that
never
day.
got to go with you, honey.
I
I was
know.
kind of upset about
Mexico.
that. Because I wanted to see Mexico. But in the countries that are Latino speaking,
Right.
Spanish speaking,
Right.
they love, I mean, they're crazy for Stryper. Like,
Yeah.
they never stop playing him on their radio stations. In fact, let's talk about the MTV days, honey.
Yeah.
MTV had dial-up and MTV video back in the day when they just did videos.
24/7
And
videos.
and in the 80s, Stryper was the most requested for a couple years for Calling on You, Always There for You, and Free. And I saw the videos, and he's got so much energy. Y'all got to go look it up on YouTube. But that's what was really crazy about Stryper is Stryper crossed over, not just in a Christian genre. They were already crossed over into normal radio play. And they were singing about Jesus.
It's unheard of, yeah.
It's unheard of. They were the first band to do that. U2 did it later.
Yeah.
Sunday from POD.
You two never really admitted to being
They were a worship band in the beginning.
full Christian band. They came out and their stuff was not
Yeah.
tagged that.
Right.
We
Of
came
course,
out.
Creed.
We came out
Creed.
and said, "Hey, we're a Christian rock band."
And we're
Yeah.
we're not ashamed of
Yes,
it.
and we're
Yeah.
not ashamed of it. So
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah. Well, that's huge that you're still popular
Yeah.
because it comes and goes.
Yeah. Those-
Do you feel that your audience has transcended the age group that first saw you in the 80s? Are you seeing some younger people at your shows?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it's mostly the parents that grew up with us when they were younger, bringing their kids to
Got
see
it.
us, and it's been a lot of that. And there's been some, young people that have kind of gotten into us just because they've seen us, or maybe at a show or something.
Well, what's interesting is your music is not. I don't think of it as contemporary Christian music in the sense that you're a hard rock band. You're a metal band.
Yeah.
And that isn't what you hear on the Christian radio stations.
No, we're not the format. We don't fit the format of
Yeah.
Christian radio. So.
It's their narrative that they have going.
Yeah.
Christian radio stations. I'm just being honest. They have a narrative that they have to stick by, and their order from their people, and Stryper's not part of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And why do you think that is?
What do you think it is, honey?
The only thing I
Super
can
weird.
think of is, there's a certain sound that music, a certain trendy sound that music has, and we've never been that,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
We've
Not
always been
hooky,
out.
as they call it in the business.
Well, we have our hooks,
Yeah.
but we don't sound like what's popular.
Right.
So we get kind of shoved aside, and that's what we hear a lot of most of the time from music directors is, oh, you guys don't fit our format. And it's
Right.
like, okay,
What format
what's
is
that?
it? It's what they're following.
Yeah.
They're following what's popular, which, by the way, is very contradictory to me
Yeah.
because you're not supposed to do that.
Not as a Christian. You're supposed
Nope.
to stand
You're supposed
alone.
to follow where
You're
the
supposed to
Spirit
be
is leading.
peculiar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, maybe one day that would change, but I don't see it changing anytime soon. So
And, you
they're
know,
fine with it, though.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, I think it bothers some of the other guys more than me, but to me, it's like, I feel like you're going to get that if you're standing up for something as important as Christ.
Yeah.
and groundbreakers always get that.
Oh, yeah. Pioneers.
Pioneers. I'm a pioneer in what I do. He's
Yeah.
a pioneer. And I think that's why we
That's
connected in the first
the old
place.
saying is settlers get rich, pioneers get arrows.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Very good.
Yeah,
That's a good saying.
This is the thing, is that even with what I do, nobody was doing the work I was doing back then that I knew of.
Yeah.
I even had a survivor-led safe house, survivor-led ministry.
Right.
I didn't really know anyone that was working with trafficking victims like I was.
Yeah.
And back then they didn't call it trafficking victims. They called us ex-prostitutes.
Right.
Ex-hoes. I mean, this is how it was.
Yeah,
Right? So people ask too, hookers for Jesus. That's pretty risque, Annie. It means fish hook. I would teach you how to fish for people. So yeah. So I guess, honey, we're both pioneers, and that's probably why we get along so well, because we understand that when you break ground, you really break ground. And you break ground that's hard, that no one else has done. I'll never forget this. Walking behind my grandfather as a little girl. My grandfather was, his parents were from Poland. He was full Polish. And he used to have these machetes. I know that sounds pretty harsh. These 2 machetes, and he would take them and he would cut he had land that he bought in Wisconsin, and we would help him develop it.
Right.
So he would cut these paths through the land, and he would chop, and he'd say to me, follow in back of me and pick up the branches.
Right.
I hated it because the mosquitoes would attack me and the spiders.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll never forget that, because my grandfather showed me something. Someone else has to do the hard work. You will resent that person because they're making you work.
Yes.
You know, and but at the end of the day, that path is now a road, and everyone else can travel on that road.
Yeah.
But they don't know what it took to get that road the way it was. They were not there when they broke the ground first.
Yeah. And both of you guys are groundbreakers.
Right.
In, you know, in your particular fields.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a blessing. Let's talk about blessing each other through Christ in a marriage. Do you guys pray together?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you make a regular habit at a regular time? Or
No,
is it just
not
kind
really.
There's no formula.
Just kind of happens
know,
spontaneously.
Yeah.
And we both have individually have a pretty deep devotional time every day.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I didn't do it in Devo today.
You have
Sorry.
Well, but it doesn't have to happen every day. But
I try to. But
Annie spends a few hours in her bedroom, and I'm downstairs already cooking breakfast, and she'll sit there and
Going to the Bible.
going through stuff. And then there's days during the week when she goes to work where I'm just sitting listening and getting fed in the mornings, you know. And then, you know, since the pandemic, it's been hard to get out to not make contact with anyone.
Yeah, to go to church.
Yeah, in my thing, it's been, but I watch online, and I'm still connected with the people at church, and so is she, and you know, so we make do how we have to, and I do with this thing where it's like I meet with people individually, and go out and have breakfast or lunch or something, and we, you know, pastor will come with, or the worship leader or somebody will meet with me. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat, you know. And I get to meet with musicians in town. I do it all the time, you know. Lunchtime, you know, it's called, hey.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's an unusual town that way, you know. Entertainment is our business.
Yeah.
And no matter what aspect of the hospitality industry, and you're in it.
Right.
You know, and we just accept that to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You guys going to stay in Vegas, you think? Is this going to be your home forever?
I don't plan on leaving. I love it here.
Yeah.
I love the airport. It's easy to get in and out.
Oh, that's the truth. I just came in a couple of nights ago, and you know, I thanked the Lord as I was on my shuttle, you know, saying, man, I remember when this took a lot longer.
Yeah.
When you were in other cities.
But then, my gosh, the entertainment, the food, the places
Food
to
is
see.
phenomenal.
I mean, you have so much here. Plus, you got Red Rock if you want to go hiking.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff.
It's a great
really
place.
Great
We have the lake. We have Hoover Dam.
Oh, we got it all. Well, thank you for gracing our set and gracing Las Vegas and
You're
doing
welcome.
the Lord's work, both of you. It's very kind of you to come on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Good to see you, Dale.
God bless you. Wow. It's been the Oz and Annie show, and we're so pleased that they came on together. And Annie also did another show, and as I mentioned during that program, she was my very first guest ever. And that was a while ago.
Really cool.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless you both.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please walk with Him. God bless you.
God's for
What is the Bible? What does it say? Why do people care about it? And what does it have to do with you? Christians claim the Bible was authored by God through human hands to share His story and help us understand who He is. It's a diverse collection of literature, including historical accounts, poetry, stories, and wisdom. It contains mind-blowing adventures like men being thrown into a fire-filled furnace, yet they weren't burned. It speaks of an old man who was lowered into a lion's den, only to be supernaturally protected and not eaten. It also tells the story of a little girl who had died, yet miraculously came back to life. The Bible is one book that contains 66 smaller books. It was written over a period of 1,500 years and authored by over 40 different people that range from shepherds to doctors, scholars, farmers, and kings. Completed 2,000 years ago, historians say it's one of the most reliable books on the planet. Over 10,000 manuscripts have survived the centuries. Compare that to only 235 known manuscripts of Shakespeare's First Folio. There have been over 5 billion copies printed worldwide, making it the most reproduced book in the world. The Bible is divided into two sections, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is well known for its early history of the world and insight into life, giving wisdom such as don't murder and love one another. Other sections are a bit racy, such as your breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. The first 4 books in the New Testament tell the story of Jesus through the perspectives of 4 of his closest friends. The rest of the New Testament is stories and letters revealing what Jesus' closest followers did after his time on earth. God used average people to heal all kinds of diseases and drive out demons. Many of Jesus' followers were killed because they dared to preach his message. Jesus claimed to be the human manifestation of God's unfailing love for humanity and the secret for true inner peace. He gave hope to the hopeless, love to the unloved, and then gave his life to bring never-ending life to everyone who would believe in him. That's where you come in. Beware, reading this book will change you. As you read it, its message of hope will come alive in you. That's what it's designed to do. Why not give it a shot and see for yourself what it says? It just might surprise you.
So let's talk about love. It's a beautiful fuzzy feeling that makes you forget everything. It's like this heart goes every time you see your favorite person. It sends shivers down your spine and feels like a couple of butterflies in your tummy. It's a gooey, warm feeling, isn't it? But do you know the difference between being in love and real love? Being in love, this little guy, as beautiful as it looks, wants to do the things for its own happiness. It wants things that brings him immediate satisfaction. It wants pleasure and intensity to satisfy itself and wants to do the things that captivate only the moment. It's self-seeking. Real love, on the other hand, focuses on the well-being and the growth of the other person. It is patient and sacrifices what's most important to it just to save you because it wants to see you grow. It seeks to deepen this relationship with you based on trust and friendship, a pure act of the heart. Even when you're selfish and wrong, it gives you another chance, like Jesus does. Christ is always around you to shower you with unconditional love in spite of mistakes, and he will never judge you. Jesus joyfully celebrates honesty, and he is a safe place of shelter. He never stops believing and doing what's best for you. That is real love.
Morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at DaleWDavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.